Isn't it kind of funny that every time we talk about God, we sort of refer to him in a bit of an abstract way? We use the term God as though he's some sort of person that we can never know and is sort of out there. And we say all kinds of things about him that oftentimes we don't even really believe. Like, here's one that I think is really interesting. People say all the time, well, God created the heavens and the earth. Yet they act like they don't believe it, because when it comes to him providing for them, they don't really trust him because they don't think that he can. And this is kind of an interesting thing, because this is where worry comes from. We get all freaked out about this happening or that happening, and we think, oh my gosh, what'll happen if this doesn't work out? That's exactly what happens to us, and that's exactly what human nature looks like. But here's the reality of how God works. God not only created the heavens and the earth, he created us. And not only did he create us, but he also went out of his way to communicate with us, to tell us that he is not only real, but that he is more than willing to participate in our life. He loves us. He cares about us. He wants to take care of us. And believe it or not, he's concerned about every single need that we have from beginning to end. Some of us look at the grand scheme of things and look at a God who created everything, and we think, well, God isn't really concerned with my needs, or he's not concerned about my problem at work, or he's not concerned about the fact that I can't pay my bills, or he's not concerned about the fact that I need to be able to feed my family and eat myself. We think about the bigger things, and we think, how in the world could a God who did all of that actually be concerned with me, especially on an earth that has billions of people living upon it? Well, the reality of it is that God is real, his word is real, and his word tells us that God is so concerned for us that he will go out of his way to do whatever is best for us if we will allow him to do so. That's what the Bible says. Sometimes, of course, we think that what's best for us are all kinds of material gain and things like that. And sometimes that might be the case, but in a lot of cases it's not. But we're so stubborn and stuck on what we think we want that we end up making demands to the Lord and say, this is what I have to have. And that's why guys like Joel Osteen and some of these other guys are super popular, because it's always about me instead of it always being about God. Now, I'm going to just say something, because we're going to learn this from the study that we go through today. And if you are not watching this on Sunday morning, early in the morning, and you're watching it another day of the week, I will attach to this video the Bible study that I'm teaching, where we learn about Jesus feeding the 5,000 men. Now, that's just men. It was probably closer to 40 or 50,000 people with only a few loaves of bread and a few fishes. And folks, that's a pretty amazing, miraculous thing. But it is indicative of several things. Number one, we have a God that cares about us. Number two, we have a God that has compassion upon us, right? He loves us. He cares about us. And number three, we have a God that can miraculously multiply anything that we need in our lives. He's so good to us, guys. All we have to do is walk in obedience to him and trust that he knows best, so that we can allow him to do the work that he wants to do in our lives. Folks, that's what it's all about. So I think it's time for us to get our minds and our hearts focused on trusting the God who created us. If he can create me and sustain me, he can undoubtedly support me and provide for me. And take it from a man who has watched God do that miraculously. As long as there is breath in my lungs, I will always brag about the fact that God is so good and he knows exactly what he's doing. And where he guides us, he provides for us. And he provides for us during times where we don't think he is. And we are mind-boggled when we allow him to take control, because we find the rewards of that to be far greater than anything we could possibly imagine. That's the way it is, folks. It's time to trust God. Faith over fear. Jesus is coming soon, but there's so much he wants to do with our lives on this earth. God bless you guys.